Sup? What is going on, my party people? So, today's video we're going to talk about the poll that won the topic, and the topic at hand was turning family away during SHTF. So, I don't feel like being on camera. You're going to get a good view of my dollar store plate carrier and my AR, just for the sake of having something to look at. And you can hear my wonderful voice. Anyway, so turning family away during SHTF. Should you do it? Ideally, no. But we'll talk about some reasons why you might have to. So we all know SHTF is not an umbrella term. It shouldn't be, at least. It shouldn't be used that way. It happens in stages, in varying intensities. Right now, we are in a beginning of a recession. We are dealing with this whole Israel, Iran, Lebanon thing. We're dealing with Ukraine and Russia, China, Taiwan, and all this fun stuff that the U.S. wants to stick its nose in, because we all know the military-industrial complex needs its money. It needs a fresh supply of America's sons to feed the machine. But we're not going to get too far into that right now. Turning family away. So depending on the intensity of the event, do you have the supplies to supply your unprepared family and close friends? More than likely not, because supply and demand is one hell of a drug. And these things, water, food, and stuff like that, you're going to run out eventually. And if you don't know how to farm, grow your own food, little garden, big garden, things like that, it's going to be rough. So anyway, dealing with the family. I don't know how many people you know that are willfully ignorant, or simply just don't believe it's going to happen, or don't care, or say, I don't watch the news because it scares me. I don't want to know what's going on. I like being ignorant. Well, those are the people that are going to come looking at you, Mr. and Mrs. Prepper. Mr. and Mrs. I see nothing wrong with keeping a couple cases of water tucked back, or some canned goods, or my skills of canning or preserving or whatever. They're going to come to you and say, I need help, even though they ignored your warnings the whole time. Now, people look at preppers like they're crazy, but we all know during the big sick how people acted with toilet paper. How are they going to act when the supply chains slow down or cease? You might have food rations, meat rationing like they did back in the World War II era. People in this country have had it so good for so long, they forgot what hurt is. They forgot what struggle is. They forgot a lot of things. The generations that lived it, are on their way out, age-wise, things like that. But these people that are so used to having everything handed them on a silver platter are going to be the ones that come knocking. And they're going to be your family and close friends. What do you do for them? Well, if it gets that bad, there's not going to be much you can do, because the supplies that you do have will be thin. They will be wearing thin. And the big question is, they'll say, hey, we need help. Well, in that case, what did they have to offer you? It sucks saying you might have to turn them away, but these are the same people that don't know how to garden, don't know how to grow, don't know how to set up any kind of perimeter, don't have any skills in the martial lifestyle or the old lifestyle of growing your own food. Now, I'm not an expert on anything, bit of a jack of all trades, master of none. But I do know logistics very well. That was one of my primary jobs in the military. I did a lot of logistics. Planning, things like that. Well, not planning per se, but making sure the guys on the ground had what they needed to do the mission and are properly sustained. Food goes quick, especially meats. If you don't refrigerate meat, it goes bad very fast. The power goes down. How do you preserve meats and things that need to be preserved? Well, A lot of people don't know this, but I'm sure you've seen the ad on here. Lard. Using lard, it was a good way to do it, and people did it for hundreds of years. And not many people know about that. But that's getting off topic again. Water purification, things like that. When your family comes knocking, if they do, what will you do? What should you do? Well, I can't answer for everybody. But unfortunately, I will be closing my door. If you have no skills or abilities to help secure my tribe, you're not part of it. Sorry. But that's just the way it's going to be. And I'm not saying this is a tough guy. I'm not saying this is how I want it to be. But that's just the reality of the situation. So there's that. What can you do to help your willfully ignorant family members now? What can you do? Well, be keen on telling them when there's a sale. You know, buy one, get one free. Buy two, get one free. Things like that. If you have cases of water, maybe you have too many, which you can never have too much water. Maybe ask them to hold on to a case for you and say, when I have space, I'll come get it. When things hit the fan, the rotary oscillator, they will, when their sink doesn't work or something like that, they will consume said water. How long they last, hopefully it lasts them long enough to survive the event. Now, we all know the powers that be don't want SHTF to get too bad and don't want it to go too far because, well, how do they maintain power? You keep the people fat, happy, and sedated. So, there's that. So what's the right answer? There really isn't one. It depends on your context. It depends on what you have available to you, what your abilities are. Should you help as many people as possible and build your tribe? Of course, absolutely, because we talked about another video I had put up before. Who's going to inherit the day after SHTF? The warlords. The people that have access to food, water, and human vices. Somebody put in the, I forget his name, he put in the comment section, his goal is to own the store, the farm, the brothel, and the plantation or something like that. And that's really the way it would have to be. The food, the water, and human vices run the show. And the more useful people you have in your tribe, the better. The more mechanics you have, the more growers you have, the more logisticians you have, the more guys that know how to use stuff like this. Granted, it's a good thing, but then you also got to remember that's more mouths to feed. So, take that for what that's worth. Video's a little long, wasted a lot of your time. Anyway, go forth, do great things, stay out of trouble. Deuces, people.